Hey, so straight off the bat, I'm going to say it. God never put Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden. God didn't do that. Adam and Eve chose to move. Adam and Eve made a choice, and God went along with that choice. They chose the experience of good and evil. They chose to move. God never put them out of the garden. God did not do that. Whew. But he did make space for them to go, like to have the experience that they wanted. And how do I know that? Parenting with God and surrendering my ego as a parent, and just like, as parents we put our kids through some shit because we think that we are the shit. We are the shit. We really are. But as parents, we put our children through some things because we think that we're in charge when we're living in supremacy. And again, I'm going to say there's a difference between that being in supremacy space and maintaining safety. As parents, sometimes we absolutely do have to make some decisions that are about safety because our children are not yet mature enough to handle those decisions. And so there's a big difference between safety and control. And like, finding that balance is not easy. It is a very fine line between control and managing safety. But there is a line, and finding the balance is essential. And so God gave Adam and Eve choice. From the time they were created, it was like, this is here, not a good idea. Not a good idea to experience it, so don't eat that. Eat everything else, just not that one thing. Dude, okay. So I'm gonna just ask you, as parents, as people in general, like, when we look at our lives, do we acknowledge the myriad things, like the very many things that are going right? Or do we tend very often to focus on the one thing that we don't think is going right? And I don't mean dealing with conflict and that kind of thing. I mean, like, like you're focusing on that one little habit, like the sound that your friend makes, or like people chewing with their mouths open, like that. Things like that. Like, so many other great things are happening, but we're focusing on that. And I say that because that like drives me nuts. And I really try to like move past it, and sound sometimes just drive me crazy. And just like, I can focus on the sound, or I can refocus on the many amazing things that are happening around me. We're not talking about harm. That's super different. 100% address harm. Address harm and learn to do it kindly without doing harm as well. But so as parents, we put our children through some things when we are living in supremacy, and it's just like, and we forget, and we just think, well, you're kids, and you just have to, like, this is who I am, this is who I was, and you just like deal with it. And it's just like, no, you were yelly, and that was not okay. Like, you were spanky, and that was not okay. You did a lot of things in anger, and that was not okay. Like, your children dealt with your tantrums, and that was not okay. And now you don't want to deal with theirs. Now you don't want to deal with theirs. And again, I'm saying there's a difference between safety and control. And so, how are we as parents walking through our children's struggles with them? And how are we as parents also acknowledging those places where our actions had an impact on our children and the way they're able to show up in the world, and how dedicated, having taken responsibility for that, how dedicated are we to staying through the healing with them? You know, God didn't do anything to hurt us, and God stays with us. We definitely hurt each other, and acknowledging that is important, because once we acknowledge it and take responsibility, then patience grows in a different way when that happens. But what I was talking about, and it's not about, and as I was going along tonight, thinking about all of this because of stuff that happened today, and just like reflecting in general, and just like patience, young one, patience. Yeah, patience. Okay, patience. And I was just like reflecting with God about how he is patient with us, and how the whole team is so patient with us. And then, you know, thinking of the stage at which my children are right now, and some of the decisions that they make. And then sometimes, you know, when we're at this stage with this, like, you're parenting children who are adolescent, and with all of their neurological and psychological and whatnot foibles and ups and downs and strengths and lagging skills, you get the like big, like, I hate you and I can't wait to get out of here and all the rest of that. And I was just like, what? And then I was just like, oh wait, wow. Yeah, that's so normal. That's so normal. That's not directed at you. And I'm just like, oh, okay. So thinking of how I responded to that, reacted, definitely was not a response. It was a reaction. And then I was like, oh, do you do what you do for them to see you? Or do you just do it because it's what you do as a parent? And I was just like, oh yeah, oh, that little girl way back then that didn't feel acknowledged, that little girl way back then, that little me. I'm just like, oh, that's that wound. That's that wound from way back then. A just like when is literally like the best tool ever. It's like, what am I feeling now? Like, what am I feeling right now? What emotions am I feeling right now? David really brought this tool to my consciousness, and it's one that I use a lot. What am I feeling right now? You know why? Because it helps me move out of blame and look at me. And once I look at me and stop blaming others, I can see what, like, I can get to calm more quickly, because it is like, oh, little one, like, what you're feeling right now has nothing to do with them. And it's just like, oh, and it didn't even have anything to do with the original, really, like the people. It was the idea. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not doing anything to be seen. It's just because it's exactly what I want to do. So we're good. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm okay. Cool. And also, I'm not going to take your, like, we're going to have a conversation about the way. I am definitely going to take it. And we are going to have a conversation. And I'm just like, yeah, because why? God always had conversations. And so as I was going along tonight, to be honest, my prayer was just like, oh man, just put obstacles along the way to keep safety. Just like, thank you for like going ahead and keeping the guardrails in place to keep safety a priority. And And I said that to God. And also, hopefully anytime they try getting around the guardrails that you put in place for them, maybe a jackass will show up that will talk to them. Maybe that's the kind of like aha moment that is needed to get through. And even then, man, sometimes we just wander away and we're gonna go do it, and it will not be a good thing. Thinking of this story of Balaam as I draw that parallel, that story that came to me, and it was just like, oh yeah, keep them safe, and hopefully even a jackass will show up when they need one. And then I had a little laugh, and then it was just like, and God was just like, and so what now? And I was just like, you did not kick Adam and Eve out of the garden. They chose an experience. They chose an experience. And even so, you clothed them, like you told them what they had, you reminded them what the experience was going to be like now. And none of that was your will. Like none of the like aspects of evil had anything to do with God. And Jesus told us that in the parable of the prodigal son. Very clear. Very clear. Very, very, very clear. At different stages of maturity, they will make choices that are not sensible. It's like, I want to go experience life in my way. All right, go ahead. Your inheritance is your freedom. Go for it. I have done everything I can to teach you, and go ahead. And whenever you're ready to come back home, I'm here. And then there was the lamb. That was the son at the most mature point. And then there was the lamb, younger. So if I'm using, when I think of the parallels in human development, I think of the lamb as a younger child who, just like did something silly and got stuck. And so the father, the shepherd, went out, like left the others who were safe, and went out and got that one, and was just like, oh, went out and got that one and brought them home. And then we have the coins, younger still, like, younger still, not as aware, and not having the same capacity to think and reason. And so their pain was clearly not because of the coin's loss, was not because of the coin. The coin was lost because the woman misplaced the coin. So that young, like the babies who are on who need us and who can't fend for themselves, and our actions have an impact on them. And that's like the coins. And that mama, that those coins were very precious to her. They were her bride price, and she went looking for them. She did the work. She hella did the work to find those coins. As a parent, I am 100% committed. I have done so much work, and will keep doing so. I will keep doing whatever work I need to do to touch that, like that infant part of my children that still, even though they're grown this much, there's still that, that infant part, that young part, that my actions hurt. And so, like, it's on me to go look for them and to care for that, bring them home, like, and celebrate that and do the work. And so it's just like, I'm just like, oh, Jesus, like, Jesus. Guys, I love the Bible so much because it is an incredible collection of case studies of what it is to be human and how we tell the stories based on our interpretation of the experience because of our wounds. And Jesus came to set the record straight. Jesus came to set the record straight. So we're not cheating on Creator with Jesus. No. Jesus is here so that we understand Creator more. Jesus was a whole lot more than a prophet. Jesus was God's very son who came to like clearly help us to understand what the truth is of the stories, and helped us to understand that by the way he lived. How do I know that God never kicked anybody out? Because Jesus kept Judas with him for the full time of his ministry, right up until the very moment that Judas was going to betray him. And he shared the last meal that he had on earth before his crucifixion. He shared that with Judas. If Jesus is showing us the Father never kicked anybody out. I have been wrestling with God for so long on that. I'm just like, why? I've said this before. Like, why did you like if you knew, like, why'd you let him stay by? I was like, cause I don't kick any of my kids out. That's not me. I keep you guys close always. You guys make your decisions, but I would never kick you out. Never. I am with you always, even to the end of the age. I love you. God is with you. Go just like study Jesus. Study Jesus and then look at everything else through those lenses. Mind-blowing and life-changing. I love you. Good night.